Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lili Nishmasi Mimirotzus Mordechai. Mazel Tov to our very own Zalman Tzvi. He's 14 years old today, which means that he finished 1,700 daf of Gemara. Started when he was 9.5 years old. Here's some. Yes. Yeah. Look at this. Look. This is what he looked like back then, and this is what he looks like now. He's wearing his hat in the back over there. Okay. Shigom Michal Chayil. Rebelli, I think it's safe to say I've been doing a lot of flying. 93 flights so far in 2023. I write this email from 34,000 feet. I do the back and forth to Phoenix and a few to Yisrael in Springland, Chicago, Houston, Miami, and more. I joined the Daf early, Masechta Shabbos. Inspired by Mo Landy, I took on to learn brachas when I'm flying. Telling you about it gave you the idea. When Mo Landy told me about it, gave me the idea of the MDY family to learn 5,200 daf in the zchus for Avi Mendelbaum Olav Shalom. You can share with Chuck, who emailed the other day, that it's definitely feasible to learn the current and do catch up on dapim in flight. In addition to making my way through brachas, I also use the flight time to catch up on more current dapim I miss, Shabbosim, etc. Rabbi Isai, in New Kabbalah, Beli Neder, he says, Shnayim Mikra. Yesterday morning, when you were talking about 2M1T, Shnayim Mikra, HaTorah and Shemois, Adar Gasha, that I'm going to take on to add Shnayim Mikra into my time on flights going forward. I like it, we won't finish the Sedra in flight, but it's a good start. And tell Donnie Fine to keep posting reminders on his status. Being it's 2 plus 1, Shnayim Mikra of Echad Targum, it should be lezchot for two wonderful girls to find their +1 bקרוב. Dina Michal bas Chana Hinda Rivka Rifki Yudas bas Yafa Chaya. Thank you. Your inspired Talmud, Mark Ashkenazi. Joe Rabinowitz. I started Ksubas Base. I fly often. No need to buy Wi-Fi. You can download on the All Daf app, the Blad, and still listen on 1.5 speed. I realized I had more time in my day, so I started brachas. It helps in a few areas. First of all, I can join the cruise. This is something we need to discuss with the board. You can't just go backwards. You have to be with us since brachas. You can't make it up. What? Yes? He says yes. Noam, what do you say? You have no idea what we're talking about. You're off the board right now. Yes. What do you say?
That's the question.
We said during the beginning of Shabbos, we said that whoever is with us from brachas will join the cruise. We thought it was a joke, but now it's becoming more and more serious.
Somebody can't be on the cruise? No.
If somebody came in Baba Kama, they could be on the cruise?
I think
we got to limit it to a certain amount. Okay, but let's say. What? It's a certainly. But he wants to know if he goes back and does brachas, from brachas, does he? What's going on over there? What? We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen then. Listen, the cruise only holds 5,000 people. Let's say 10,000 want to come. What are you going to do?
They'll be in the other boat.
There is no. I'm never bored. Extra time, another blot. I see how when you do brachas, he sees how talented Rebbe is by juggling pictures, charts, like in real pieces of paper, and actually giving a 45-minute cheer.
Yeah, good old days.
Seeing when people like Fischl are introduced. On a flight, I downloaded a few David brachas. I can learn the whole flight. I won't say what I used to do on the flight. My family sees I'm a learning person. These are all things that he says is good when you do extra daf. My family sees I'm a learning person who happens to work most of the day. A changed man, Yosef Rabinowitz. This is from Shabsai Cohen. He goes over the idea of doing Shnayim Mikra v'Echad Targum, and he brings another mashal. 850 daf since the beginning of Rosh Hashanah. I took out a monthly subscription in the zchus of Jonathan Stefansky's turning of the daf reminder. Happy secular New Year to the ganze MDY Mishpacha, Michael Chezel, Peretz and Chezel and Herman, intellectual property lawyers. Here is $36 a month. Mitzvah Goyreris Mitzvah. We spoke about Molandi learning on the plane. So then Marcus, Jonathan Stefansky, Nadav, who was he that jumped up? Nachshon ben Nadav. The Nachshon. Rabbi Isai, the parnas of the Yom. I'm going to jump straight into the parnas of the Yom. Peretz Chaim Levine, Moir v'Rabbi Rebel Yoshlit. I wanted to get you a nice present before I leave back to Chutz L'Aretz, but what can I get for a person who has everything? So in lieu of that, and with a nod to Jonathan Stefansky, please accept this donation. He's not writing what it is, but I heard it's $500. So Yishkoyach Gadol, please accept this donation to MDY. Shkoyach. He was. I saw him every single day this week, steiging his head in the Gemara. No WhatsApps. No. There were a few videos taken in inappropriate times when I was inappropriate, but other than that, it was. What? You don't have them, do you? Don't worry. I took a picture of him. He doesn't know. I took a picture of him steiging away. I was very impressed. So the Koil of the week is sponsored by Yedidya Pereira, lezchut zivug bekrov for Chana bas Michal. Chaim David ben Shulamis, ושושנה ברכה bas Shulamis. The Masechta sponsored for the unity Achdus of Am Yisrael. Peretz Yosef ben Chaya Sara for all the zchusim that come from supporting limud HaTorah. Peretz Yedidya Pereira, lezchut zivug bekrov Chana bas Michal, Chaim David ben Shulamis, ושושנה ברכה bas Shulamis. Peretz Rav Noam, Avi, Gary, and Yosef for your relentless commitment to MDY. Parnas HaChodesh, Eli Stefansky ben Moshe, Eli Stefansky bas Yosef. Parnas HaYom, the second one. Hershy Weinberger, the covered the bar mitzvah of his son Berry, Dov ben Tuvia, Kishbach should be benching with all the bruchas. The zchis of the torah should be mashpia on him. Kolmid the metav, Bonabriche, Chayarichim, Zon Reviche, V'siyad Shmayad Mei Ve'esrim. I'm gonna. You have to answer the proper way. I'm just gonna finish it. Ad Mei Ve'esrim. Okay, that's better. Not Amen. What's this Amen business? That's right. Third parnas of the day. Oh, Rabbi side, this is hurtful. L'refuas Yitzchok Elimelech ben Tzivio Mirim Perel, a 12-year-old from Yerushalayim. You should have refuah shlema. Huh? Mark Ashkenazi. For us, oh, Yishkoyach. No, that's a chashuv gift. Rabbi Isai, we're holding Daf Yomi Amud Beis, the last words. Oh, the guest. We have a South African guest from David. Remind me? Karno from South. Good friends of Tomer. Where's Tomer? He's in the back over there. Thanks. Who else do we have? You're not such a guest. How many times are you here this year? In June. Okay. What's your name again? David Katzenstein from Highland Park, New Jersey. Who else? Oh, Shalom Aleichem. What's your name? Josh Selling. New from? Tinek. Shalom Aleichem. Welcome. All right. Yes. Yeah, Shkoya. You gotta come more often. So here's, you know what? I'll jump right into it here. This is my little thing, so don't make fun. There's a ganav and a gazlan. A ganav is someone who steals at night, robs at night. He's scared of people. He comes at night. A gazlan is a tough guy. He has no fear. He comes during the day, shakes people down. There's something called a listim mizuyan. Somebody who holds you up at gunpoint. Armed robber. What category is he in? Is he a ganav or gazlan? And Yosef, you can't answer anymore. That you did yesterday. No, is he a ganav or a gazlan? Huh? That's reserved for Hillel. Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about a lot. And before I forget, there's, I think, 2 minyanim today for mincha. There's 5 to 1, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and 1:45. Last week there was 25 people, the first minyan, 35 in the second minyan. 1:45 because there's a shir at 2 o'clock in Hebrew. If anybody's interested, coming right before Shabbos, it's a great way to get out of helping your wife. And yeah, that's why there's a lot of people last week. I think Rabbi Isai, so we're holding by Eisvei Rav Yosef L'Rabba. So Nachamol, let's go through this real quickly. There are three types of guards. There's actually four. A renter, which we'll also speak about, but the guards. There's a shomer chinam, a guy that guards your stuff for free. He's not responsible if it's lost or stolen. Shomer sacher gets paid guard, and the shoyel is the guy that borrows stuff. He's worse off. He has to pay for everything. We'll see, even if the animal just drops dead, he has to pay. Unless it drops dead while you're working with it. While you're driving the car conks out, then you don't. But if the car all of a sudden just goes up in flames in your backyard and you have to pay for it. So here's the list. These are the things, each one, Shemechinam, he's only chayav when he's negligent, but for Gneva Aveda Potter, that's the main thing. The difference between a Shemechinam and a Shem Sachar, Shem Sachar has to pay for Gneva Aveda. So we had a Shiloh, what happens if a person finds a lost item, a metzia, and he is a shomer? What halacha does he have? Is he a shomer chinam or shomer sachar? Do we view him as somebody that gets paid or somebody that doesn't get paid? The nafkamina is that if he gets paid, then he's responsible if it gets lost or stolen. If he doesn't get paid, then he's not responsible. So we said that we had the guy coming in here demonstrating to us that if somebody's in the middle of, he's occupied, taking care of a mitzvah, like a lost item, he has to take care of the dog, then he doesn't have to do other mitzvahs. So since he doesn't have to do another mitzvah, so if a poor person comes and asks him for bread, he says, I'm potter, I don't have to give you. So it's as if he got paid. He gets paid, now he's responsible for Gneva Aveda. That's Rav Yosef Shita. Rabbi argues in him, and that's famous in Shas as Pruta de Rav Yosef. That amount of money that he saved, that little coin that he didn't have to give the poor person, that makes him a shomer sacher. So now that's today's discussion. Eisvei Rav Yosef l'Rabba. Rav Yosef is the one that says he's considered a paid guard because he gets that pruta. So yes, Rabba, you say that he's considered a free guard and he's not responsible for Gnei B'Aveda. Let me ask you. Top of Nun Zayin Amud Aleph. If the person who found the object puts it back, he found the dog, he found the wallet, he found the computer, he goes to the guy's house, he knocks and nobody opens up, he puts it on the porch. The guy could see it from there. You know who else could see it from there? The porch pirates. The halacha is he doesn't have to take care of it anymore. He put it down there, he's good to go. The Gemara is going to explain how and when. Nignan v'ayavda, if it was lost or stolen or lost, oh, something is wrong here. We just said you don't have to take care of it, and a second later, well, if it gets lost or stolen, you have to pay for it. My nignan v'ayavda. So the Gemara understands, wait, no, it's a different case. Nignan v'ayavda means lav nignan v'mebeisav avda mebeisai. It must mean before he had a chance to put it on the porch, it was lost and stolen from his own house. The guy that found the item was stolen from his house. What do you see? Since the Gemara says, the Brisa says that he has to pay for it, he's responsible for Gneva Aveda, that makes him a shomer sachar. So that answers our questions. Rav Yosef says he's a shomer sachar, he got a pruta. Here, he got a pruta. Says the Gemara, wait a minute. What you're saying doesn't make sense because it says specifically he doesn't have to take care of it. He's not chayav b'gnei aveda. So something's wrong here. We have to explain. Huh? Oh, loy lav loy. No, it wasn't stolen from his house. It was stolen from the porch. So what if it was stolen from the porch? But he's a shomer sachar. Now it's a real pshia. Okay, stolen from the porch, not from his house. Says Gemara, once he puts it back on the porch, he's not chayav to deal with it. So what are you telling me? He put it back on the porch. What? Yeah, he's a real peshaya. Yeah, a peshaya. Everybody's chayav, even a shomer chinam. Says the Gemara, "V'aktani and Chayv l'tavo." Omer le'el ba'eskin going shechzir b'tzorai. So the Gemara says, no, we're talking about two separate cases. I'll explain everything. There's one case that he gave it back in the morning. One case he gave it back in the afternoon. Basically, the difference is in those days, in the morning, people were around. In the afternoon, they weren't around. Baruch is back. Shalom Aleichem. It's always great to see you. How many get over here? Should we do a get over here? Yeah. Okay, Baruch, come. Baruch Furman, get over here. Yeah. When he come, no, I'm just learning while you're coming. Come, let's go, come. We won't show your mefaked. Come. If a person comes back, if a person leaves it in the afternoon when nobody's home in the afternoon, so what do you expect? It's going to get stolen. There's two cases. If he gives it back in the morning, before people go out to work, Shalom Aleichem. How you doing? Baruch just came back from the war. How long are you here for?
Shabbos.
You look a little dazed. You tired? Very tired. How many hours do you get to sleep over there at a time?
I didn't sleep this week.
You didn't sleep at all this week. And here's a guy that's at the daf. What? His unit needs a drone. Really? Send him to Donnie. How much is a drone? They need a drone?
Yeah, I was got knocked down.
Well, what? Yours got knocked down?
Yeah.
What kind of drone is it? It's a Mavic? Like what? It's a little drone or it's an expensive drone?
The Mavic
Thermal? I don't know what that is.
Thermal.
I have a Mavic I could give you. For real. I haven't used it in a year, but it's probably not good enough for you guys. What?
Infrared.
No, infrared. Here, sit over here. You could put your thing right over here. What is that? What is this?
No.
Oh, you could show us what a listening mizuyin is. Oh.
It's not a listing, but it's Mizuya.
It's mizuyin, right. Wow. Okay, we're all emotional because we see him every day and we're worried about him. We hear about all the crazy things. Okay, you're back. Baruch Hashem. And what a chizuk. Seriously, what a chizuk. The guy didn't sleep. We were just talking, we don't understand what it means. We'll never understand. Being out there in the cold, in the rain, in the tents, and not sleeping, hearing the bombs all night, and then he comes to the daf in the morning. No excuses, Rabbi, no excuses. Be'emes. So there's two different cases. So if you give, put it back in the morning, right before he goes to work, he's going to trip over it, he'll bring it into his house, now it's his problem. But then you don't have to take care of it. But if you return it in the afternoon, yes, he could see it. It's not the way of people to come back during the day. When I was a kid, there was a big thing, siesta here in Eretz Yisrael. Between 2 and 4, you couldn't make any noise and everybody used to take a nap. Now, it's a little bit less than that. Now it's okay. Every single day when I want to try to take a nap in the afternoon, the ice cream truck comes by and plays the loud music. Nobody cares. Huh? Because Lanim. The nigneva of the Chaya. But in those days, nobody came home in the afternoon. They used to work till the evening. So if you put it there, you're a poisheya. So even a shomer chinam would be chayev. You don't put something down on somebody's porch. I'm sure everybody in America, because I know that the little that I'm there, I have videos of people stealing Amazon packages right off my porch. And I'm sure it's a very common thing in most neighborhoods. Although, when I lived in Lincolnwood, I was telling the Olam, I left for Shabbos with my family, and it was snowing. And you come out of the garage, single family home, push the button, the clicker, the garage goes down, you leave. I was inexperienced, come back Motzei Shabbos, the garage is wide open. $50,000 worth of tools, because I used to do construction then. And the garage wide open. Not a single tool was missing, not a single bike was taken in Lincolnwood. Now, I don't know that that's the same thing now, but certain neighborhoods, what happened was the garage went down, but that eye that makes sure that the kid doesn't go in, got snow hit it, so it went back up. But today you can't even leave a small package out there. They'll come in broad daylight, they'll smash and grab whatever it is. You're a pesheya. If If you put it in a way that you know that the owner is going to see nobody else, then you're potter. Eisvei. Oh, so this is very interesting. You're chayav no matter what until you return it to his domain. My lo'ilam. What does that mean? A guy that found something, lav afilu mid beisai, doesn't it mean even from the house of the guy that found it? In other words, I find something. I'm chayiv to give back, even if it was stolen and lost, even if it was taken out of my house. What is that a raya? Why am I chayiv? Because I'm a shem yisachar. Even if what? No, we're not talking about it. We're talking about he took it out of the house of the guy that found it. We didn't even get to returning it. Until he gives it back to the guy in his hand. We're not talking about porch, not porch. You're chayiv even afilu mebeisoi from the guy that found it. So a guy comes into the shomer aveda's house and takes it. You see from here that he's chayiv achrayus. Amalei. He says like this. There's a difference. Let's make a distinction between things that run away and things that don't. We're talking about you found a dog. How did you find the dog? The dog ran away. So he's a runner. You got to pay attention. What did you find? If you found a wallet, so it fell out of the guy's pocket. You found a dog, you found an animal, so obviously the animal likes to run away, like in this picture right over here. Animals that have a taste, says the Gemara. The kivin denaktilu nigra beraisa, when they walk around outside, that's it. Once you let a kid runs away or whatever it is, he gets used to running away. You have an animal that runs away, he'll run away. So that's why you should have realized that you're dealing with an animal that tasted freedom. So he's going to run. He's going to run. He's going to get lost. If he's going to run, he's going to get stolen also. Says Taisvus. He's an animal that leaves. And once he leaves, somebody sees, here's a $1,000 dog. Let me take him. I don't know if there's a shomer chinam. Who told you if it's you mean Rashi? Okay. If Rashi says it. Yes. It would be it's not a chiddush because then it would be considered a pshia. It's more like a pshia. Shomer chinam is only potter when he does what's normal. What's normal for these kinds of animals is that they like to run away. So once they run away, what the runners.
Didn't get away from running away. It was big enough.
No. How did it come to your reshus? How did it come to you?
They're running away.
I'm saying in general, animals are different. I'm saying specifically this animal you should have used your seichel. Yeah? I was just throwing in that specifically this animal you should have figured it out. But any animal in general, since they like to be outdoors and they move around, so they run. And then you have the stories of the reverse. You have the dog that walked back home. This guy tried to get rid of him and threw him in a forest 100 miles away from his house, and he walked back. Cats that came back. V'chulu. Eisvi Rabbler of Yosef. Again, so Rab is the one that says that a shomer aveda is a shomer chinam. Rab Yosef is the one that says that a shomer aveda is shomer sachar. So now it's Rab's turn to attack Rav Yosef. Hashev. It says in the pasuk 2 words that if you find an animal, hashev teshivim lachicha, give it back. So it'd be enough for one word. Hashev lachicha teshivim lachicha. What's hashev teshivim? The double lashon. Ein le'ela bebeisoi leginasi l'churvasim enayin. I know that you should give it back. Put it in his house. How do I could put it back in his backyard? I could put it back in his ruins. He has a ruined house somewhere. You can put it back. It was a big thing in those days to have these ruins. Teshivim is a lashon of even a lesser type of giving back. You're not giving, it's not a hashava, it's teshivim. It's even a minor way of giving back. Put it back in his burnt down house. But what does it mean? We have a picture here of a churva hamishtameres. You have a ruins but it's guarded. Okay, so if it's guarded, then there's no difference between your house and a ruin. Then what do you gain by saying that it's ruins? You're talking about some sort of yard that doesn't have the proper shmira, some type of churva that doesn't have shmira. You could put it back in a lesser place. What does the lesser place mean? Like a shomer chinam. Because the difference between shomer sachar and shomer chinam, there's another difference. Shomer chinam doesn't have to take care of it that well, the basic guarding. Shomer sachar, since he gets paid, he has to watch, take it up a notch. If I tell you can put it back in a backyard that has very little shmir, that means you're a shomer chinam. No, we're talking about that there's a guard in the front, like this picture. Love it. You ask me, so what's the difference between a mansion that's watched and guarded to a rickety, rackety, burnt down house that he used to have and used to live in, but it's guarded now? Tremendous chiddush. That you don't need to notify the owner. You could return it without notification. Everybody, when it comes to giving things back, when it comes to giving money back to somebody that you borrowed money from, when it comes to a ganav, Motzei Shabbos, not with me, a kid stole a bunch of candy when he was a kid from a store, from the candy store. He felt bad when he grew up. He went in there, dumped all the candy on the floor and ran out. You have to notify the owner. Here, I stole from you, sorry, I was a little kid, I was stupid. Here it is. But you have to notify. A ganav, a shoyel, all these things. A loiva. But not a meishav aveda. There's a chiddush here that if you find something, you don't have to notify. Take the wallet, put it in the guy's house, close the door and walk away. Why? Because the Torah says hashev teshivei, to teach us that even without notification it's okay. I just want to say the story only because this guy is one of my best friends. I said the story a number of times. I have to say it over because it's very appropriate for here. Rebbe Chanan Feinstein was a Magichir in Chicago, but he's also related to me and one of my closest friends. I'm saying this because he doesn't like when I say the story, so I'm prefacing that he's one of my close friends. I love him. He borrowed my ski clothes. He said, "Could I have your ski clothes?" He said, "Sure." You know, ski clothes is $1,000 minimum. You got the jacket, you got the pants, the goggles, the helmet, the whole thing. Then I had to go skiing. Of course, I had to go skiing. So I'm like, I call him up. Can I have my stuff back? Of course, give your stuff back. Now I'm like a day before skiing. He didn't give it back. So I call him up. Where's my stuff? He says, I gave it back to you. I said, you didn't. What do we? So I put it in a garbage bag, put it by your front door. Now when my cleaning lady sees the garbage bag in front of the door, she puts it in the garbage. And that's what happened. It went bye-bye. So I have to go out and buy all these clothes. Chayav or not. According to this Gemara, he has to notify. He has to say, hey, Eli, go to the front door. It's there. Al-Chana, you owe me over $1,000. Oh. So it's an interesting shaila. This is another one of those. But Gishmak, a guy calls up his friend. He says, "Listen, I borrowed money from you. I want to pay you back. I have the money." She says, "Okay." She says, "Can I come over now?" "No, I can't come over now. I'm not home." She says, "But he says, you know what? Put it in an envelope. Put it in my mailbox." He says, "I'm not putting money. It's a lot of money. It's $1,000. I'm going to put it in a mailbox." He says, "No. My mailbox. It's safe. Nobody ever took anything out of my mailbox." Fine. This Chacham Batata that owes the money, he's looking for an envelope, and he doesn't have an envelope, Nebuch. So he finds an invitation that somebody wrote to him, so he puts the money in the invitation. Now it says his name on the invitation. So he takes it, without thinking, he puts it in the guy's mailbox. The guy's wife opens up the mailbox, and she sees an invitation that's not her husband. So she puts it in the neighbor's box, because he has the same name. The neighbor takes the invitation and throws it in the garbage because he sees that it's a funny name there. It's not him, so he throws it in the garbage. I'm going to save some Yukel's invitation from a different block. It was from garbage. So who's chayiv? Who's chayiv in this case? You have the guy that is owed the money. He told him to put it in the mailbox. The guy that paid back put it in the envelope with the wrong name. The guy's wife gave it to the other name. The guy's neighbor threw in the garbage. What's going on here? What do you do? Who asked this question, Rabbi Isai? Everybody together is Zimmerstein. So he says they're all Paisheya. They're all bad guys. Each one made a different mistake worse than the other. Bottom line is, nobody's chayiv. The guy lost his money. That's what he says. But I'm just saying, this idea of tzarech le'idiyah, notify the guy. Say, hey, I just dropped off the money, etc. Fine. Rabbi Yosef, if you heard the story about Elchanan Feinstein, don't even tell him. Please don't tell him, because he gets all these things, and then he gets mad at me. Why do you say it? And it's not true. I don't know you. People think I'm a bum. I still love him a lot. What? Why should he know? I like the guy. What pay? It was, it was 1980 stuff. It was yellow with green. The one piece probably. I don't know what. You have to update once in a while anyway. See, I updated. Don't worry about it. I call Tov. I'll tell you who's not my best friend, Jonathan. Yeah. They used to be my best friends until I threw them under the bus in front of 20,000 people. So he's asked him, wait a minute, you're Rav Yosef. Rebbe, right? Abaye was his Talmud. He asked Rav Yosef, I understand, you don't admit to Rabbah that somebody that finds an Aveda, he's actually not paid as a Shoy Mechinam. Oh, so let's do this. Nachamal. We have a Ganav and a Gazlan. We have a guy that steals at night and a guy that steals during the day. There's a huge difference. The guy that steals at night, if he's found guilty, he has to pay double knas. The guy that on the left, the Gazlan, doesn't pay a knas. Now, there's only two types of people that pay double, kefil. Somebody that actually is a Ganav, he stole, and we find out, and somebody that lies and says it was stolen, gneva. Okay? If a guy says it was stolen, he's a shomer sachar, let's say, and he says, it was stolen. Shomer sachar is not a good example. Shomer chinam, who's potter when it's stolen, so he has a great thing. Somebody gives him a beautiful dish to watch. It costs $10,000. He looks at it, he likes it, he takes it for himself. The guy says, no, what happened to my dish? Oh, it got stolen. Oh, stolen? So he's potter. It's the swear potter. Then we find out that he stole it. So now he has to pay double. He has to pay kefil. Okay. Now, ask the Gemara, but it says like this. It says that even a guy that finds a mitzvah, he wasn't watching it. He was watching it because the Torah told him to watch it. He found a wallet. He decided to pocket it. People do that all the time, right? Find a nice wallet. Sometimes they take the cash out and they return the wallet as is. I found your wallet. Oh, it didn't have any cash in it. Sometimes they just take the whole wallet. It's a nice wallet. It's leather. They take it for themselves. Now, the Shomer Aveda who says, HaTorah Tainas Ganav, he lies and he says, it was stolen from me. It's on video that he found it. So now, you found it. We saw you pick it up. Yeah, but it was stolen from me. So, Mishalan Tashlumi Keifel, he has to pay double. Says the Gemara, beautiful. The only time you pay double is if you're a shomer chinam and you lie that it was stolen. But if you're a shomer sachar and lie that it's stolen, a shomer sachar is chayiv b'gneva v'aveda. So if you're chayiv b'gneva v'aveda, it doesn't help when you say, it was stolen. So pay. So he pays. So if he pays, he doesn't have to pay kefil. The only time you pay kefil is when you don't pay. You're using it as an excuse. And we find out that you're a liar, you have to pay double. But a shomer sachar who says that it was stolen, so pay the value, and he pays the value. So he never pays kefil. So ask Abaye a bomb question. You Rebbe say that he's a shomer sachar, he has to pay double. He's chai b'gnei v'aveda. Amay mishalim tashlumi kefil. If he's chai b'gnei v'aveda, you should pay. Karna b'y shalom, you should pay the principal immediately, and there's no kefil. Amalei, Rabbi saying this is the sugya on Amud Beis. Comes Rav Yosef with the chat. He says, no. Let me see your gun a second. I need the gun right now. Baruch, where's the gun? You gonna get into trouble? Not a video. Okay, fine. I see it. It's giving me the here. So it's this guy. Oh no, actually, we'll do better. It's this. Toyin tainas listen mezuyin. Says Rabbi Yosef Mordechai. And we're going to try to figure out if it's possible that this is the case. It's a beautiful case. He's a shomer sachar. You're right, he's a shomer sachar. And he lies and he says, I was held up at gunpoint. He's held up at gunpoint, he's potter now. Why? Because he's zionist. He's not negligent, he didn't do anything wrong, he's held up at gunpoint. But when we find out he's a liar, now he has to pay double. So we're jumping on two chasanas. On the one hand, he's potter, even though he's a shomer sachar. Why? Held up at gunpoint. On the other hand, when we find out that he's a liar, he has to pay double because he's a ganav. But what is it? What is an armed robber? Is he a ganav or a gazlan? So the Gemara understands he's a ganav. Amalei, listen, mezuyin gazlan who? It's not true. If you're telling me that he's held by gunpoint, gunpoint is a gazlan. Now think about it for a second. Let's think about the svaria. What's a ganav? What's a gazlan? A ganav is somebody that's scared of human beings. A gazlan has no fear. He's giant. He doesn't care about anybody. Comes in broad daylight and steals. This guy, he's really a coward. He uses a gun. He has a mask. It's broad daylight on the one hand, but he's scared of human beings. He doesn't want to reveal his face. He can't do it without a gun. So he's a scaredy cat. So maybe he's a ganav. So I thought that he's a ganav. Says, no, he's a gazlan. He does it in broad daylight, he's a gazlan. Listen, he's doing gazlan. And if he's a gazlan, there's no kefil, right? Because the Torah says mefurish, Kitin Ishlareo V'gunav. It has to be gneva. Or maybe it's this pasuk here, this one. This one. Im lo yimotze haganav yishav shnayim l'reu. Gneva. This also. Says Gemara, Amalei shani yoyim listen mezuyin kivin demitam minshe ganav. No, I argue with you. I say that since he's scared of people, he's a ganav, not a gazlan. Okay. So a shoy misachar that would claim that it's listen mezuyin, since it's a oines, it's a listen mezuyin. It was an armed robbery, potter. But if I chap him, if I see that he's a liar and I catch him that he's a liar, now he has to pay kefil. Why? Because listen mezuyin is a ganav. So now we have to figure out if he's a ganav or a gazlan. What?
Why does it matter whether listen mezuyin are considered a ganav or a ganav? The shomers are ganav because he's trying to keep it.
Yeah, but it goes. I hear what you're saying. He is a ganav, but it's based on his taina. Let's say he is a ganav, but he claimed aveda. Goes by his taina. I hear what you're asking. Nun zayin Amud Beis. So the Gemara says like this. Eisvei. I have a question. Let's figure out, is he a ganav or a ganav? Oh, sponsored by the wonderful, my best friend, Jonathan Stefansky. One of my best friends. Now he's my best friend, who encouraged many to give to MDY at the end of the year. Yeah.
He's considered a ganav, and this is a plain tanis ganav.
We're in the middle of sponsorship.
You're taking away from Jonathan. You got to do this again.
You think this is a shear or something?
There wasn't that last week also? Rabbi Isai, Manchester, this is a time that even if you didn't hear the emails, Manchester is doing a live shear and join Yossi Dahari and the Chaverov Ayin Shah Motzei Shabbos. Says the Gemara Loi. Eisvei. It says in the Bryce like this. This Bryce is trying to prove that Shoy Mechinam has something above a Shoy Mesachar that Shoy Mesachar doesn't have. It's a Chumrah. Rashi says, I don't know exactly where it is. Taisa says, I do know where it is. Fine. But the bottom line is, there's something about a Shoy Mechinam that pays double, and a Shoy Mesachar never pays double. So you see that Shoy Mechinam has a Chumrah. Sometimes he pays double. How does Shoy Mechinam pay double? When he lies and he says it was stolen, we find that it wasn't stolen, he pays double. Shoy Mesachar can never come to that point. Shoy Mesachar always pays one amount, which is interesting. Tosfos points out a bird in the hand is whatever the lashon is better than two in the bush. In other words, the Shoy Mesachar always pays one. Shoy Mechinam, sometimes if we catch him in the lie, he'll have to pay two. Which one is worse? Shoy Mesachar always pays one. Okay. I'll go upon him. It's a taina over here. But according to you, says the Gemara on Rav Yosef, you came up with a pshat that we're talking about an armed robber. And an armed robber is a ganav. And if he's a ganav, he has to pay double. But we're talking about in a Shoy Mesachar. Shoy Mesachar claimed that there was an armed robbery, so he's an oinus, he doesn't have to pay. When we find out he's a liar, he's a ganav. So your whole Kavachomer, what you're trying to do here and prove that Shoy Mesachar is less than a Shoy Mechinam is wrong. Both the Shoy Mechinam and a Shoy Mesachar have a case where they pay kefil. They're equal. In this case, no simple answer. I'm trying to prove that Shoy Mechinam is more chomer than a Shoy Mesachar. Why? She came to every single case of Tainas Gneva whether it's an armed robbery or not an armed robbery, he always has to pay kefil if we find out that he's a liar, shomer chinam. B'shem Yisachar is less than that. He never pays the Shlumi Kefil in a regular case. Ella only b'toyin tanis listen to Zuyan. Fine. End of the story. That explains that Brisa why the Brisa thought that a shomer chinam has more of a chumrah than a shomer Yisachar. Eisvei. Again, we want to figure out. Rav Yosef is like he's holding on to a thread here. He's answering this, talking about a case where there's an armed robbery. Now, does that help him or not? Do we view an armed robber as a ganav or a gazlan? Eisvei. It says by a shoyel. V'nishbarei meis. Where's the pasuk? Let's see if we have it here. Oh, mefurish. V'chi yishal. He's a shoyel. He borrowed. Mimreo, unbelievable halacha. You borrow something from your friend. You borrow a horse from your friend, and the horse drops dead. You must pay your friend back. But he's a dying horse. I don't know what. No, you pay back. He breaks his leg. You pay back. You borrow a car from your friend, and you have a flat tire. You pay. How do I know that a shoyel, somebody borrows and was stolen, he has to pay? I personally would have said, and they discuss it, I would say, listen, if you have to pay for a broken leg, so of course you have to pay if somebody comes through the window and steals them. You should have been careful, no? No, the Gemara says it's a better kavachomer maybe. I'll prove it from a shomer Yisachar. Who's watching your animal and its leg breaks or it dies, he's potter when the leg breaks, but he's chai b'gneva aveda. So certainly you shoyel, the borrower, when a leg breaks, you do have to pay. Anything, so certainly shechai b'gneva aveda, you have to pay when it's stolen. And the Gemara says, "V'zeu kavachomer she'en olav tshuva." Very simple kavachomer. If a shomer Yisachar who's potter when a leg breaks, but chayiv when it was stolen, so certainly a shoyel that's chayiv when a leg breaks, certainly should be chayiv when it was stolen. There's no answer to that. Now the Gemara says there is an answer. But if you tell me like you're of Yosef, that are armed robbers considered a ganav, not a gazlan, I have a beautiful answer. You could say, you're telling me that shomer Yisachar is more chomer than, a shoyel is more chomer than a shomer Yisachar? The opposite. I have a case where a shomer Yisachar is more severe than a shoyel. Why? Because a shomer Yisachar, when he lies and he says that he was held up at gunpoint, and we find out he's a liar, he has to pay twice. A shoyel, when he lies and he says he was held up at gunpoint, how much does he pay? One time, because he's a shoyel and he always pays no matter what. He never gets to the case of kefil. So here I have a case. The shomer Yisachar is more chomer. No, he holds that the reason why Rashi says beautiful, this is nice pshat, this is not as simple as you think it is. It's simpler, but not what you think. Because the shomer Yisachar, who pays kefil, says Rashi, is because he lied he swore falsely. So it's a punishment for that. We're not getting him for not watching. It's not because he lacks in his shmira. It's because he lied falsely. Whereas a shoyel has to pay because he didn't watch properly.
Is it strange that the Gemara assumes that it's a chomer that you pay Tashlumi Kefil, even though the reason that a Shaw doesn't pay Kefil is because of the chomer of Shaw that you pay Onsen?
Going back to that question, is one time better than 2 times? Is 2 times worse than 1 time in the rare case of 2 times? No? You're saying that's because of, you give me the svara. I hear, okay. It's beyond my pay grade. I can't answer such deep questions. Says Gemara, I have a raya to Reb Yosef that a listed mizuyan armed robber is a ganav. It says we have some beautiful pictures here. It was stolen, but here's better. I love this. It's my line. Oops. Hertz cow rental. So he stole a rented cow. Okay, you rent a cow, wanted cow. You rent a cow and it was stolen. So now the famous question in Shas, Machlokes between Ramei and Yehuda, how do we view a renter? A guy that rents, is he like a shomer chinam or like a shomer Yisachar? Does he have to pay for theft? Today when we rent a car, so usually you don't pay for theft. Or if the car gets lost, there's insurance. But without insurance, do you have to pay or not? Is it your responsibility when somebody comes and steals a car? Another guy says, let me pay, and I don't have to swear. What does that mean? Let's be medayik in the words. That he has the option. Let me pay, I don't want to swear, or let me swear and I don't want to pay. Wait a minute. The Shomer Socher pays. He doesn't swear. If it's stolen, he can't get out of it by swearing. So wait a minute. The only way to answer that is, Rabbi Yisai, think, listen to Mizuyim. There's only one case where he could swear and get out of it and not pay. When he says that I was a oinus, it wasn't my fault. I was held up with a gun. Gun to me. Sorry. Then they found the ganav. So this is an interesting halacha. Since the renter paid the principal, so now when we find the ganav, which sometimes happens, the ganav has to pay him the extra 2 times. He gets paid back the principal plus the kefil. So the Gemara Savruah Rabbi Yehuda dama soicha kenois sachar dami. We want to hold like Rabbi Yehuda that what? That a renter is like a paid guard that's chayving gneva. Since the Bride says that I want to pay and not swear, wait a minute. It seems like he could swear and not pay. What's the case? If he said it was stolen, he cannot swear and get out of it. Obviously, he's going to have to pay without a shvuah. So why is he swearing and not paying? Because he's claiming it was armed robbery. But then what's the fearais? What happens afterwards? They found the ganav. There is the tayin, tainus listen mizuyim, pays kefel. Shemamin listen mizuyim, ganavu. You see, the fact that this is kefel, you see this is ganav. So the Gemara, Amri, misaris ki Yehuda dama soicher kenois sachar dami. Who said that we hold like Rabbi Yehuda? That a renter is like a paid guard? He holds like Rabbi Meir, dama soicher keshomer chinam dami. He's considered shomer chinam, and a shomer chinam that lies and says that there was a listim pays. He swears and pays, even without listim. Or you could say, if you really want to hold like Rabbi Yehuda, so you could just switch Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda and say that Rabbi Meir is the one that says that a soicher is like a shomer socher, and Rabbi Yehuda is the opposite. He holds a shomer chinam, and therefore everything is great. And the Brayos will go like Rabbi Yehuda. Reb Zera Omar, Zera says, we're talking about a case where the guy claimed that there was a listim mezuyin, there was an armed robbery. V'nimtza, but it turns out listim she'einu mezuyin. It comes out that he's not an armed robbery. So Rabbi Yisai, I just want to talk to you for a second from my heart over here. I thought when I was reading this, I thought a beautiful thing. He claimed tainus listim mezuyin. He lied. He said that he was held up at gunpoint. It turns out it wasn't gunpoint. What does this negate us? That many times, this negate, we have Baruch Furman over here. Many times we have excuses. I can't come today to the shir. I can't learn today because I'm very tired, because I went to a wedding, because I have a bris, I have a really big deal coming up, I have a meeting, I have a phone call, my wife, I'm sick, I don't feel, I this, I that. And the Gemara here is teaching us there are no excuses. And I'm going to tell you this, if it's mechazik one person, so it's kedai. I'm not saying this chas v'shalom for any kind of, it's in humility. I celebrated 1,500 days straight of giving a shir. Giving a shir, not listening to a shir and doing Daf Yomi, but preparing for many hours every day, 1,500 days straight. So obviously, during those 1,500 days, there were days where I had high fever, days where my son got married, days, and this is embarrassing, but if it gives somebody chizuk, the day that my daughter gave birth, it was at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was in the hospital, and she lost consciousness, and they rushed her in for surgery, and they weren't sure if she's going to make it or not. And I decided, stupidly, to come here and give this shir. Now, looking back, I made a mistake probably. But it taught me that there are no excuses, that there's nothing to stop you. There's nothing that's a good enough excuse not to do the daf. If it's not you dying, or if you're not Robert Early sitting shiva on a son that got killed in Gaza, then there's no excuse. If your friend is getting married, so you go later to the chasana. You don't have to be there for 4.5 hours. And if you have a bris, so maybe you missed the bris. There are no excuses, Rabbi Isai. So before you think to yourself that today I don't want to do the daf, think 1,000 times. Is this a gun held to your head? Or maybe it's at the end, it's listim she'enim mezuyin. Maybe it's not a gun. It's not a pikuach nefesh like you think. There are no excuses, Rabbi Isai, no excuses. Now let's just do this little piece over here. So we had this case, but this is slightly different with the variation. If the animal falls into the garden below, so she has to pay. You have to pay. It's a very small amount, not exactly what she ate. We're going to discuss exactly what. Amarav, b'nech b'ta. It's talking about that this animal, check out this thing, poof. It fell, but the vegetables absorbed the fall. It acted as a mattress. That's why you pay mashenehenes. But if the animal just fell and decided to eat, afilu mashenehenes enim shalemes. Eating, you don't have to pay. Leima, says the Gemara, this is Rav's chiddush. For eating, you don't have to pay. Only for the it saved the animal from injury, that's what you pay. How much do you pay for a person to bring a mattress there and hold it out? Leima Rav, the Tamei, Dama Rav, let's say Rav holds like himself. Dama Rav, Rav says, the animal is guilty. Not the owner. The animal shouldn't eat the poison. We had that sugya. Don't eat the poison. No. There's no comparison. Over there by the poison, the owner could say, listen, I put poison here, but your animal shouldn't have eaten it. It's your fault. But that your animal should go have a great meal and you don't have to pay because your animal shouldn't have eaten, that's not a good enough excuse. Rabbi Isai, have a wonderful day. Motzei Shabbos at 8 o'clock. Today, if you're interested, 1:45 mincha, 2 o'clock shir, and the shir for the Israelis for Hebrew, 9:15 Motzei Shabbos. Shir la malo, Yisrael Elohim, Ma'ayin Yavo Yisri. Yisri mi Madino Yosef Shumayim Boretz. Al Yitei Lamoy Draglecho, Ayunum Shemrecho. Hinei lo yinov lo yishon Shemay Yisrael. Adonai Shemrecho, Adonai Tzilcho, Yad Yiminecho. Yoyim Hashem Shlo Yakeko, V'yorei Ba'loilo. Adonai Shmecho Mikoro, Yishmor Es Nafshecho. Adonai Yishmor Zizcho V'yecho, Me'atov Yadilo. Achei, nu kol Yisrael, Eloheinu mitzor v'shivyoim, dim bein bayom bein bayabo, shamokim rachim aleim, tzim mitzor levochem afel loyro mishimilu lo. Hashtov eglos ba'koriv, v'nimar omein. Shkoyach.